Walk into almost any nursing home or senior center, and you'll notice a distinct demographic reality. The vast majority of the residents are women. This survival curve shows the demographic divergence. By age 65, women make up 57% of the population. By age 85, that number climbs to 67%. Depending on the region, women outlive men by anywhere from 4 to 10 years. We often treat this gap as a fixed law of nature, an assumption that men are simply programmed to burn out faster, and that biology is the only factor deciding the finish line. Biology is the starting point, but the research points to socio-behavioral blind spots that cost men a full decade of life. A 2023 study analyzed data from over 426,000 people across 102 countries, looking for the specific factors that predict happiness and life satisfaction in men. The researchers found that the excess mortality burden on men is driven by a mix of factors, with significant weight placed on life satisfaction and specific behavioral deficits. This creates a longevity ledger. On one side is the biological hardware you're born with. On the other is the behavioral software, the social connections and daily habits that dictate how long that hardware lasts. Closing a life expectancy gap requires a full audit of these socio-behavioral deficits. We start with the hardware. Women possess a built-in cardiovascular advantage, largely thanks to estrogen. This diagram shows the mechanism at work. Estrogen actively lowers low-density lipoprotein, the bad cholesterol, while boosting the good high-density lipoprotein, which naturally reduces cardiovascular risk. Testosterone has the opposite effect, raising bad cholesterol and lowering the good. This puts men at a significantly higher risk for hypertension and stroke, often causing heart disease to manifest a full decade earlier than it does in women. Size also plays a role. Men are typically 15 to 20% larger than women, and across most species, larger animals tend to die younger than smaller ones. Biology hands men a clear cardiovascular handicap, yet these physiological traits are only one part of the mortality equation. Behavioral factors act as a multiplier on those biological risks. Men consistently underestimate physical danger and lag behind in basic preventative measures, such as hand hygiene. The audit reveals that socioeconomic stress, particularly unemployment, impacts male mortality more severely than female mortality. For many men, a job is the primary source of social connection. Losing that role often destroys life satisfaction, severing the ties that keep a person socially integrated. Traditional societal expectations tie male identity so closely to economic output that losing a job becomes a direct threat to a man's survival. This dependence on external structures continues into old age. Men often rely on their partners for healthcare navigation and domestic organization. There is measurable well-being derived from meal planning and preparation, a concept known as Culinary Grief Therapy. When a spouse passes, a man is often left without domestic survival skills and becomes dangerously isolated, having outsourced his self-care for decades. Traditional gender roles in the home leave many older men fatally unequipped for solitary survival. The Ngamaba study concludes that high life satisfaction acts as a biological shield, extending lifespan. The Harvard study of adult development reached the same conclusion over an 80-year period. Social connection in midlife is a stronger predictor of healthy aging than genetics. Men who actively build social networks beyond their spouses and coworkers create a necessary buffer for their health. In this context, maintaining friendships becomes a functional requirement for healthy aging. Achieving domestic independence, mastering life skills like cooking, builds the autonomy required to survive the loss of a partner. Men can also adopt the survival advantage women gain from more frequent medical contact by taking proactive control of their own preventative screenings. Men can restructure their behavioral environment even if they cannot change their cardiovascular blueprint. Encouraging the men in your life to check their health, reach out to a friend, or learn a new domestic skill isn't just about lifestyle, it's about protecting their time.